Very gently. Obviously, if Belle was moving, I wouldn't keep going. I'm going to go in both directions, and I'm just drawing a line under her eye. A line between the eyes. Her mum keeps her really neat at home, so there's not a lot coming off. The handling changes when we go over to this side, so my arm's going across. It's okay. And again, just using the tip of my blade, like putting on eyeliner, running along the bottom of her eye and going in both directions, because the hair actually does swirl. When we're clipping the face, we're working against the grain. And then with the body, we're working with the grain. So the grain is growing backwards on her nose, so I'm coming forwards here. We do take the whiskers off, very, very gently. If Belle was moving, I would pause. I have got a hold of her face and she is feeling relaxed. I'm now going to do a line from the corner of her eye to the corner of her ear, and again, using the clippers like we were with the eyeliner, and I'm just using the edge and I'm drawing a line from the corner of the eye to the corner of the ear, taking off all the hair in front of the ear to encourage airflow. We'll talk about ears a bit later. Very gentle on the cheek. This is where you will get clipper rash if you're too rough. I go with the grain on the cheeks just to be safe. I'm now going to create a line from the corner of the ear to the throat. Now there'll be a little bump in here. I call it the Adam's apple. It's actually not an Adam's apple, but there's a part of the neck that has a little bump sticking out. We clip down to that point. Again, gentle on the neck. It can rash up. Change my handling to reach over. Good girl, Belle. Open up the ear. Gentle on the cheek. And then a line down to there. Now, lips are a little bit tricky. Make sure that your blade's not hot. They do heat up. I'm actually going to change that. I just want to make sure that the blade is cold on Belle's face because I haven't trimmed her before. I don't know if she's sensitive to clipper rash, so I'll just work with a cold blade to be sure. Now, using my thumb, I'm going to stretch out Belle's lip gently. This is called the flue, this little piece of skin that tucks around the tooth. I'm going to make sure that I clear out the flue. And just going against the grain on the lip very, very gently, holding the clippers very lightly, making sure that it's a cold blade. Belle's very experienced. Clipping out the flue. Okay. Good girl. Now, I'm just going to put some powder on her face now that I've clipped that. So this is where the Curash baby powder comes into the picture. So this is cornstarch with zinc oxide. I'm just going to rub it on my hands. Now this will soothe Belle's skin and make sure that she doesn't get a rash. I was very gentle with her, but because I haven't groomed her before, and the area to concentrate on is the cheek. Thank you. Because that's where clipper rash happens. Okay, so that's how you clip. Place to start with the top knot is this is called the visor, and it's one cut in front of the eyes. So always comb before you scissor, and always scissor a dog that's been prepped. So we want the curl out of the coat. Gently move the hair forward, don't drag it too hard, so just gentle. And holding the scissors using these fingers and straight across the eyes, and it's one cut. A straight line. Like this. I'll just grab that little part there. It's important to safely have control of a poodle's face, but not hold them so tight that they can't pant or that they get stressed. So the handling is, you know, I wouldn't press down on her nose, but I just want to know that I have her and she's not going to move. Okay, so that's the front cut. The next cut is the side. I turn my curves out like this, and I'm going to cut like a muffin top shape here. The reason I have the curves turned out is so that I can pick up this. It's never a good look when you get like this melted ice cream kind of line there. I really don't like that. So again, comb. And we get this angle here. And it's quite a sharp edge there, which I'll fix in a moment. Then I'm going to turn my scissors around and just take that edge off. That sharp edge. So I've shaved from the corner of the eye to the corner of the ear, and that's the line that our top knot sits on. I'm going to notch over the ear now with the scissors. So the ear on a poodle should be in line with the eye, and I'll follow this back to continue this. Always looking from the front to get it straight. When you comb, it should sort of mess it up again so you can check your work. And usually we need to go over the line 3 to 5 times just to make sure that you've got everything. And you'll notice that I'm turning the curves. So now I straighten up. This is where the 10-inch scissors are great for standard poodles. Because we have such a large area on top to cover, the 10 inches take a lot of the work out for me. And I need to do less cuts to get a smooth surface. Always comb up and scissor several times. And try to hold your scissors steady and not chopping in like this because you'll get marks. Just gliding across. Lastly, because we need to go so close to the eyelid here, I'm actually going to use my 10 blade to tidy that up. I'm not going to put the scissors in and cut that close. So I'll just grab my 10. So to pick up this little piece here, it is quite dangerous with the eyelid. So remember the 10 being the safe blade. If I have the 10 out on this angle, I can just safely skim the eye. And I don't need to put scissors in there. Okay, for the back, turn around, Belle. I'll turn my curves facing this way to pick up that edge. Good girl. So that will pick up the bottom edge and then good girl. Scissoring's the fun part. We almost work for a couple of hours to prep and clip the body and do all the hard work, and the scissor is the reward at the end. It's lovely when poodles have an upright head carriage. If we scissor the neck upwards like this, it gives them a proud expression. If you take off this area on the back of the head and clip right up the top, they just lose that really noble stance. It's much nicer to leave a little bit on the back of the head. Okay, so the 10-inch scissors, made quick work of that. You can see why I chose the long blade there. And the curve, the gentle curve of the scissors just fits this size top knot. Because I normally work on standards, I use large scissors a lot. But if you had a smaller poodle, the smaller scissors would be more appropriate. There she is. Okay, so there's 5 danger points that we need to be careful of when clipping our dogs. I'm going to use a number 7 on Belle's body, but the tricky areas like under her arm, I'll be using my 10. Remember 10 is the safe blade. I spoke about that earlier in the video. These little pieces of skin can get caught in the 7 blade, but the 10, because the teeth are so close together, it's a lot safer and it'll be a lot shorter. It will cut a lot shorter, which is ideal. So the 5 danger points are the underarm, groin, a poodle's bottom, their face and mouth and eyelids, and feet are another danger point. So we'll start with the underarms now. To access a dog's underarm, it won't work if we just lift the leg like that. We need to actually bring the elbow out. And where I'm clipping with my 10 is inside this hole there. It's like a little cave. Now the blade won't fit all the way in like that. I just need to use the edge and poke around in there very gently, holding my blade lightly. Make sure you've got a 10 on for this. This is the danger here, that piece of skin. Now the underarm is where grass seeds get caught and mats occur because it's a friction point with the dog's arm. So we need to really empty that out with the 10 and just gentle, just using the corners very, very gently in there. Okay, that's done. Okay, so next we're going to clip Belle's flank. I'm going to lift her knee out. Again, always number 10 when we're doing any dangerous areas. This piece of skin often gets cut when people are home grooming with a 7 blade or anything longer. So just make sure that you're working around this area with the 10. When holding the dog's leg up, make sure you're supporting this large bone there. And very gentle, holding the blade flat against the skin, not dragging. And just gently scoop out to the end of this webbing. While I'm here, I'll clip her vulva. So with the vulva, the opening is at the back, so we definitely don't want to go near the back with our 10. We go side to side when we're clipping a vulva. And if there was testicles there, it would be the same. We go side to side very, very gently. Never go in the back because that's where the opening is. That needs to be clear for hygiene. Done. Okay, so the next danger point that we're working on is Belle's bottom. It's a sensitive area for dogs, so make sure that you're holding onto the tail firmly. A dog will often sit down when you start to work here, so you really need to have a hold for their safety. Always with your number 10 on. And it's best to just go side to side in this spot. I've found that when we go upwards with the blade, the dog tends to have a little reaction. I'm not sure why, but side to side, it's a lot more comfortable for them. And that's done. Just the small area there, don't go too far. That's it. Okay, poodle feet. Always use your number 10 for poodle feet. Poodles have got webbed feet, so there's it's a dynamic area, very, very gentle. I'm just going from the front of the toenails back to the second knuckle. I'll take this hair off and show you where the second knuckle is. The second knuckle, it's something that you can feel with your finger, and it's the hinge that the foot sits on. So when the dog stands up, the leg goes down and the foot hinges out on the second knuckle. So that's where we stop clipping there. You can feel it with your thumb. This is the first knuckle here and the second knuckle there. Okay, so with my 10, I've cleared off the top. We've gone to the second knuckle. The second knuckle also lines up with the back pad. Around like that. Now, holding the clippers really light like a pencil, I'm going to wrap the hair from around, gather it all from around the nail. I'm going to go in with my clippers, but I'm not going to push back into the dog's foot. I'm going to go on top. Because there is webbing there, I don't want to push back into the webbing. So I'll just do that again. Gather the hair around the nail and then come from the top. Go down, not pushing back into. It's okay. Good girl, Belle. Now, poodles are always sensitive with their front feet. They find their back feet a little bit easier to deal with, so you'll find your dog will move a little bit. They're not in pain, it's just ticklish. It's okay. It's okay, Belle. And Belle doesn't know me, so it's okay. Good girl. Good girl. It's okay. Okay. Okay, next I'm going to tidy up the pads underneath the foot. This V section in here is the pads. Pads are where a dog will get debris, and also matting will roll up in there if you don't keep these pads clear. The pads enable the dog to grip onto the ground, so it's a very, very important part of their maintenance to make sure that all of these pads can contact the ground. And we'll just flip a little bit up here, and what you should see, if the pads are clear, you should see a teddy bear shape. So there's the teddy bear's face with 2 ears and 2 arms and 2 legs. If you can't see a part of the teddy bear, that's a part of the dog's foot that they can't use to grip onto the ground. So just make sure that you can see the full bottom, and that's a finished foot. Okay, we're going to clip Belle's body with the number 7 blade. It's summer here in Australia at the moment, mid-January, so short. I don't like to go shorter than a number 7 blade on the body. We've already been through the danger point, so we're just clipping the top here and down the legs. Always, when using clippers, we hold the clippers flat and move along the body like this, not scraping and not coming up like that. We're just going flat along the back and with the grain of the hair. So the grain of the coat goes backwards like this, curves with the ribs, curves down the legs, curves down the front legs. Put your head up, darling. And down the chest like that. So that's the grain. So I'll be clipping now, holding my clippers flat, just using 3 fingers here, really, really light. So flat. This is where it pays off to have a dog that's had 2 shampoos and thoroughly dried with a high velocity dryer. You'll get a great finish. So straight down the back and then curving with the ribs here, avoiding this danger point. And I just run off the outside, being careful not to go near the edge like that. We're just running over the outside very carefully. Here's another danger point here that we've already clipped with a 10, so I'll just be doing the outside very, very gently, never holding your clippers with a fist like that, just light and running off the flank safely. Be careful here not to go down the edge of the flank. Supporting here as I go down the front of the leg. Clipping the front leg. Dogs can be a little bit sensitive with their front legs. I find that it's good to hold the foot and just hold gently. Very, very light with the blade here. If the dog pulls their leg away, don't pull back towards yourself because that will just frighten them. Just let the dog pull their leg and go with them. You can keep clipping while their leg can't go anywhere further than that. So just give them space and don't get into a pulling sort of mindset with them because they'll just get more frightened and you'll get more stressed out. Now, we've already clipped under the arm with a 10 safely, so just be really careful of the elbow there. I'm going to turn the skin around and very, very gently go over there. Don't go in with your 7. Same as under the arm here. I'm doing the inside of the leg, but not going under the arm. Where the number 10 of the foot runs into the number 7 of the leg, I'm just going to go against the grain and take this little edge off to neaten up the leg, and that will give a seamless finish. Now before I finish with this leg, I'm just going to get a 10 and do a little bit of detail work around the dew claw and the pastern. So with my 10 on, I've just changed blades. I'm not going to put a dangerous number 7 blade on this little dew claw here, always a safe blade, but I'm just going to grab that hair that's underneath the dew claw. In Australia, we get grass seeds up there in that spot. So we want to empty it. And at the back, where the little pastern is, I'll just tidy that up. For a really neat finish. Okay, it's a finished leg. Okay, clipping the back leg. The spot to watch out for is the flank here, so always support that skin very gently, not pulling up because you'll just make more ridges that will create obstacles. Just support the skin like that so that it stays flat. And I'm going to run down. The grain goes down on all the legs. Very gentle over this ligament here. If you're holding your blade lightly, it should be okay just to glide over. When you get to the inside of the leg, just turn the clippers in your hand like that. Again, turning. And then at the bottom here, against the grain, just to leave a seamless finish. Sometimes hair can get caught in this little pocket there, so if you push it out with your finger, you can just tidy up that little bit. Done. So poodles have an oval shape on their tail. We actually clip this top part of the tail here. Now there's nothing worse than a palm tree where people clip that far down the tail and have a funny little ball on the end. Don't do that, guys. It's never cool. It's never cool. A little triangle on the top of the tail looks nice. So we go against the grain when clipping the tail. And just about that far. Okay, let's scissor. Remember, every time you use the scissors, comb, scissor, comb, scissor. So I'll start by cutting the excess length off the end of the tail. So I pull all the hair down, use my thumb to cover the tip of Belle's tail, and then I'll just clip over the top of my thumb. And when I let go, it will be a curve. I use my 10 to do that. Don't use scissors because you can graze the end of the dog's tail. So now, combing up. Back in the day when poodles had a cropped tail, we could do a ball. But now that we have a longer tail to contend with, it's more of an oval shape that we're working with. So the clippers have curved this end for me. I'm going to come under here. Again, you can see why I use 10 inches for standards, 10-inch scissors. And the dog will pull its tail down when you hold it up. That's a given. So I'm just curving the base. Good girl. It's okay. And I'll comb up a couple of times. This tail is a beautiful length. It's nice and the shape's nice and round. Sometimes when poodles have got a super, super long tail, the shape can end up a bit awkward, but Belle's got a beautiful length tail. And you just always stand back when you're scissoring, guys, so that you can get perspective. I'm looking at this whole shape here. Good girl. Good girl, Belle. She's relaxing. Last comb up. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Good girl. So just a safety tip, don't scissor towards your dog. It's okay. Good girl. Good girl. Okay. Okay, so to finish off Belle, we're going to scissor her ears now. I've come down to the smaller scissors. You'll notice with her ears that there are some chop marks and some steps here, and that's quite normal with ears. They get chewed and they get tattered and they change. So I'm going to comb this out and just gently take those stairs off. If you like short ears, you can actually put an extension, the longest extension blade on and run down the ears to lay them as well. I'm going to comb this ear forward and just tidy the front. It is a good idea to tidy the front of the ears because they go in the mouth and they get really dirty. So if you cut them back from the face a little bit, Now, in here, this point needs to come off. That's nicer. And then underneath, the way to get nice big ears is to scissor outwards like this. Obviously check to make sure that your ear leather is not in there. Belle's ear leather is up here, so I'm quite safe to cut without feeling for her ear, but I just want to mention it to you. I'd hate an accident. If you scissor out, it will make the ears sit out. If you scissor in, it will make the ears sit flat. If you scissor back, it will give a different shape. I'm going to scissor out because I want Belle's ears to look big. And make sure to run down the back. Good girl. Pretty girl. I'm going to show you how to make a bow out of a piece of ribbon. It's very, very simple. 2 loops in any order. It doesn't have to be a special knot or anything like that. So the ribbon just sits. And stretch the hair tie across the middle like this. It just sits like that. I use hemostats for this. So wrap the hemostats through 4 times. Take a little piece of hair, like that. Belle's such a good girl, she's making it easy for me. Put your head up. Pick up the hair with your hemostats. I'm going to push the tie over, pull the hair back through, and just make sure it's not too tight against. And that's it. So poodles have got such large ears, sometimes bows can get lost, and I find making them just gives them an extra. Do you like it? There you go. That's how to do bows. All right, thanks everyone. That's a number 7 blade short summer clip with Belle. Thanks for watching.